So welcome to the Night's Watch discussion today, which will focus on The Sixth Sense. Any observations, any particular character you'd like to discuss first?
I actually want to kind of discuss the mom, Toni Collette.
All right.
It's
so
interesting to start.
Observations on the mom.
I was just saying,
I feel like the mom, there was like kind of this thread of like the frustration with like the mom trying to understand what her son is going through and trying, like she was trying to support him, but there was kind of this thread of like frustration, understandably, with just like trying to understand what he's going through.
Yeah. I think one of the initial thoughts here is, and with full disclaimer, we're probably not going to be able to focus on Cole that much because nobody in here is trained in child adolescent psychiatry. However, I think at first glance, and we'll just restate what we started this morning, and that is the focus of clinical attention right here on this character, the mother, is going to be normal. This is a normal reaction to someone whose son is struggling as much as he is. She's a single parent. She's doing the best she can. I think she actually may have used those words in the script. Is there any evidence, and again, very consistent with where this discussion was just this morning, is there any evidence that we should move off square one? What evidence suggests, and if so, where?
move off square one.
Yeah, which is completely normal.
She did lose her mom, but I don't think that's something that would move us off square one because she had normal reactions to her mom dying.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she had like a few, like there was like that scene where they're like kind of eating like together and like she kind of like loses her temper, but it seemed like in the context of like understandable. Like
Moms are allowed to lose their temper.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a scene with sleep disturbance where Cole has to wake her up from a nightmare when she's pretty agitated.
And then in light of what there's clearly an underlying theme that gets fully disclosed at the end of this movie. And by the way, let me just kind of go off on a brief tangent here. Did everybody get to watch this movie or maybe I'll rephrase it differently. Did anybody not see this movie? So have you heard about this movie? Do you know the ending?
No. You can give it away. I emailed Chris Santiago.
Yeah.
And he sent us a link to all of the things we're supposed to watch only this morning.
Oh.
You
didn't have enough time this morning to watch the movie?
Yeah, no. I am not as willing to give my $3 like my peers.
Got it. Gotcha. You're okay with spoilers?
Yeah.
Even if I told you that this film
It's
easily...
a horror movie. I don't like...
Psychological thriller, suspense.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, but no.
Top 5 all-time twisted endings ever?
Yes.
No.
You're okay?
Yeah, tell me.
All right.
It would not be my first choice to watch on my own, if that's okay.
Well, I don't think you're telling the truth, but okay. I think you're being kind. All right, so we're gonna stick to the mother's perspective. One of the awesome reasons to enjoy this movie, especially in the context of psychiatry, through the lens of a psychiatrist, is that this is the only film that I've ever known that literally changes genre upon discovery of a mental disorder. Right. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to handle this now, and maybe you shouldn't have to. But if you could think of another movie, please let me know. I'll include it in our curriculum. But this movie, The Sixth Sense, upon discovery of a condition of a peripheral character we're going to get to later, I'm sure you'll get to her, goes from a psychological thriller horror to a drama. And the drama really comes to a crescendo, even before the big reveal. And that is when Cole's mom, is in that car. And she learns through different things that her son is telling her about the resolution of her conflict with her mother. So maybe there's depression here. Maybe there's a depressive disorder in the main character or in this character. Maybe there's not. But there is a conflict. And it's an unresolved grief. So What are the 5 stages of grief? If we can maybe pin a didactic to this. So, huh? Denial's one, right? Anger?
Anger, bargaining, I forget the next one, but then depression, acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you get acceptance at the very end, right? So, I mean, maybe there's depression previous, and maybe it's clinical depression, major depressive disorder, not sure. But certainly in the discussion, at least for teaching didactic, we could definitely bring it up, right? Any other aspects of this character you want to discuss? Other characters, The Sixth Sense.
I really liked I liked how it ended, and because then I went and kind of, not the whole thing, but I rewatched it for a second time, and I started picking up on things where, in my opinion, I felt like he felt like Cole was like another version of Vincent, and the reason like he couldn't let go of like his ghost was still around is because he died because he felt like he didn't help Vincent, and like in the beginning it showed like the wife went downstairs to get the wine, and like you could tell there was a presence of a ghost, and I found it so interesting how like Cole saw ghosts, and then we found out he was a ghost and he was dead, and I just thought that was like really good like movie tactics. So.
Yeah. So if Malcolm Crowe were here, and he, as part of a psychiatric interview, disclosed what is the plot to The Sixth Sense, what are some of the things that come to mind as a psychiatrist? But what would he tell us? I mean, just to paraphrase what you said, and we'll remind folks following either on Zoom or our stream, spoilers, but what would he tell us?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, well, Malcolm Crowe's here. He's sitting, we have capacity, so he's sitting. And we ask him, why do you come? What's the reason for your visit today?
I think it's probably because he feels like he didn't do enough in his job, and like he's here to diagnose people and make himself feel better.
Mm-hmm. What else?
He wants to help Cole.
What else?
Just what John was saying, like kind of closing out a case that he couldn't close out initially.
Something unresolved?
Resolving.
Maybe escape his home life because like his home life, well, maybe because he was a ghost, but his home life didn't seem so great.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Dr. Cole. What did you just say?
It's like,
What did Dr. Cole just say?
Like shutting out his wife,
No.
skipping it.
Wait. If the words that were just used presented in the clinical setting, I would hope somebody would have picked up and pumped the brakes. Did you just say you're a ghost?
yeah.
That might be problematic.
Yeah.
And this is irrespective of whether you're coming to me because of nasal congestion or whether or not it was a psychiatric chief complaint. Talk to me more. Yeah. So what would this condition perhaps be if this were on a shelf exam? What would the single best answer be?
Presenting as a ghost, is that your question?
Yeah, there's a specific delusion where an individual believes they are dead or dying. Well, not dying, but a part of them is dead.
Is it a form of depersonalization?
It's a form of delusion. It's a specific delusional syndrome.
Is this the one that you assigned to Pennywise? Or is it the same one that starts like with an F?
No, that's the Fergoli syndrome, though it's related to the Fergoli
Yeah,
syndrome.
is it Cotard?
Cotard, yeah, with a C. Cotard syndrome comes up on shelf exams, right? Cotard, C-O-T-A-R-D, is the delusional belief that the individual is dead, right? Otherwise known as the Walking Dead syndrome or Walking Dead delusion. You're not going to see that. Yeah.
Is that why he can't see other dead people? Because he just believes he's dead. He's not actually dead.
Could be. Could be.
Wait, so you're saying he's... Wait, you said he's not dead? I thought he was dead.
He can't see other ghosts, which I find insane.
Yeah, but I thought he was dead.
He is, but if he were to present in a clinical setting, I would hope you're a future medical student of mine. You're going to be a future psych resident of mine. When you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, I have a patient here, his initials are MC, and the reason why he presented the APS is because he believes he's dead. But doc, and I ask you, which I'm going to ask invariably to my residents who call me while I'm staffing call, what do you think is going on? If you said, well, Dr. T, I think he's actually a ghost, we're gonna have a bit of an issue. I'm going to call Dr. Mintz, get together that order list of where do we rank this candidate,
Okay.
right? I would hope that you go in a different direction. Now, again, this applies to film, using films as fictional accounts. I truly appreciate that this is a wonderful supernatural horror movie, or at least a psychological thriller. However, we do choose to view these through a psychology or psychiatrist lens. And, it's okay to do both. It's okay to do both. Cotard syndrome here. Other aspects of this movie you care to discuss? Other characters, other scenes?
The teacher with a stutter. So it's like I don't know, I was confused. Like, so he hasn't been studying the whole class, but then as soon as Cole brings it up, he starts to stutter the whole time.
Yeah, it does happen, and I'm not sure of the disorder because it is fortunately or unfortunate for us, classified in the child-adolescent disorder of stuttering disorder, but it may have a different name. We'd have to look that up, but that could come up on exams. So it might be as straightforward as that. But on the other hand, there does seem to be an anxiety component, which I think for the primary disorder is also true. But that's something to investigate too, especially if we identify anxiety in other aspects of the individual's life, home, leisure, etc. Which we don't have that information, and I'm not so sure that would be available.
Are we talking about a different character now? I'm not sure. Is someone we could look at that little girl's mom, the one who was poisoning her?
Yeah. So what's happening here?
Munchausen's imposed on another.
Yeah. Right. Munchausen's or factitious disorder imposed on another, otherwise or previously referred to as by proxy. Now, you mentioned, and what usually happens is that when somebody sees The Sixth Sense for the first time, one of the immediate responses is, I want to watch this over again, because now you have a special eye out for the obvious. I'm going to give you guys a reason to watch it for a third time, right? So let's backtrack, and then we'll get to the question at hand. Somebody presents with a chief complaint for which there is no, it is deemed by usually a primary team, especially in relation to our service, your rotation, for which there is no underlying cause that's been deemed appropriate, right, or to explain the patient's symptoms. At this point in your clinical decision tree, what do you have to resolve? What is the question that comes up for you as a clinician? For a medically unexplained symptom. So the first thing to do when you look at this DSM chapter, often referred to as the somatic symptom and related disorder chapter, you're going to have to understand whether or not the individual's behavior is motivated. Are they lying to you? Is there a conscious effort to deceive you? Because if you could get that question addressed, you're going to be able to have a 2x2 rubric. Right? So before that, simply, are they lying? Is there an attempt to deceive you? The best way to frame that question is there evidence that the patient is deceiving me? Because in the absence of evidence, the answer is always no. We always have to give the patient the benefit of the doubt. So unless there's discrete evidence, the answer is going to be no. Right? So let's say there is no discrete evidence. At this point in time, what is your differential diagnosis? The differential diagnosis for medically unexplained physical symptoms for which there is no
Conversion disorder.
or
Somatic symptom disorder.
perfect, right? It's really only two, right? What's the difference? I mean, conversion is going to be A, and somatic symptom disorder is going to be B on your exam.
Is conversion that there's like a history of somebody? I just remember like the classic question was like, her, like a woman, say her dad recently had a heart attack and now she's presenting with like some sort of similar problem, and it's like, and where somatic symptom, there's no, that history is not there.
It could happen, but I wouldn't stake your correct answer on that.
Somatic is just saying like, oh, my leg hurts, where like convergent is like my right leg isn't moving, like you can really specify it.
It's along the right track. Pardon the pun. It's a hint.
Does it have to do with your preoccupation, your personal preoccupation with the symptoms?
What do you mean by personal preoccupation?
Well, I guess sort of along the lines of an illness anxiety disorder when all your thoughts are sort of around a particular symptom.
Not quite.
I think of conversion disorder as like you're having neurological symptoms that don't have underlying, or like your testing is normal, but it's manifesting as a neurological symptom.
That's exactly right.
So is that what PMDS?
Yeah,
Is that
it's a
considered?
conversion disorder.
Yeah. When the somatic symptom is voluntary and/or motor function, we call it conversion. So think of conversion as a subset of the more general somatic symptom disorder. So is it voluntary motor or sensory function? Is the individual, did they lose their vision? Did they lose the strength in their legs? If so, conversion disorder. Everything else, somatic symptom disorder. Is that what's going on here? No. Oh, good. All right, good. If that is the case, we're usually going to be in the other side of this algorithm where we do believe the individual is lying to us, and we caught, or at least Kira caught her mother in that lie. So we're going to be on the other side of this algorithm and this decision tree. And here is what two-part differential
Malingering.
versus,
Practice.
right? And what differentiates the two?
One of them, you are preoccupied with playing a sick role and you enjoy that role, and then the other one is you have some sort of external motivation, maybe to be out of work for an extended period of time.
Exactly right. So the way to reframe the question is there any evidence of an external motivator? The answer is simply no. Irrespective of one actually exists or not, we're always going to give the patient benefit of the doubt. It's always factitious until proven otherwise. However, when we see the external motivator, if we find out that they just took a life insurance policy out on their daughter, guess what? This is malingering, or malingering by proxy, which doesn't exist, right? Not in the DSM. That's going to be, it's going to move from the hospital setting to a courtroom. Right? So it'll be a legal procedure, not a medical. Right? Any questions about how to break down, whether it's in a clinical setting, whether it's on a shelf exam, somebody presenting with any physical chief complaint for which there's no, or deemed to be no underlying physical cause, right? Two-part algorithm, right? Should be fairly straightforward. Get back to my original comment. When you watch the movie the third time and you put on your closed caption, when Cole and Crow enter that repass, watch or listen for the conversation in the background, the family and friends that are in that living room, because all that dialogue is the unconscious or secondary gain / motivation of why that mother does what she does to her daughter. Factitious disorder by proxy imposed on another. It's remarkable. Right? It's a great depiction.
Are you referring to like the conversation in the house at the?
Yeah, it's in the background. You can't really turn the volume up, but put the closed caption on. It's all there.
Okay.
Okay? She's so strong. How is she getting? Did you hear that her second daughter, her younger daughter, is sick now too? Oh, she's putting up such a strong fight. All that.
Sorry, can I pull this back for really quickly? So say a patient comes in and they actually do have something wrong with them, but we did diagnose them with factitious or malingering because it doesn't come up on the tests. Does that open the hospital to a lawsuit, or
Yeah.
is it just not like, oh, people miss something? It's malpractice.
That's a little bit of a different question. So, first and foremost, these designations, all four of them, should be a slice of time. You should always have some humility that whatever might be going on simply is not presented yet, at least not with the technology we have in 2025. That has happened, right? So right now, the way in which we case formulate is that there does not appear to be any underlying cause. Now, again, this is not the role of a psychiatrist, but that's the position we have to take, and that a day from now, a month from now, a year from now, something may present. It's just that when we caught this, none of that information was available. So, And I think if you proceed in that fashion and explain it, especially to your patient, then the answer is no. But have a negative test, tell a patient it's all in your head, label them with one of these illnesses and move forward, that's much more dangerous.
And then is there one that's more dangerous than another? Specifically, like if we said, okay, you have malingering instead of factitious, and we take them to court.
I don't think so. If the answer is yes, it's not necessarily qualitative, it's just quantitative in terms of how many times that's appeared in literature.
Okay.
So I'm going to say no. I think they're all equally the same. As far as medical errors, I think they're equitable. Other questions? Somatic symptom versus conversion versus factitious versus malingering. Other observations, the sixth sense, other characters to discuss. So again, so far, we certainly have somatic symptom and related disorders in terms of a chapter covered here. We have the psychotic disorders, that is the schizophrenia spectrum, and other psychotic disorder chapters, and really distilling that down to the Cotard delusion. By the way, let's kind of go off on a tangent on this one. What is delusional disorder? Let's start a little broader. Delusional disorder.
A disconnect from reality where you can't understand what is real and what isn't.
That's part of it.
They have no insight, like they know they're having delusions, but they don't have insight on that.
It's part of it.
So when you like believe something like very strongly that's just not real or not true.
I'll give you that one. Right. So, and when is it a disorder?
You go ahead. No, you go ahead. It's when you have one or more delusions for over 3 months or 6.
It's 1 month.
1 month.
I may be wrong on the timeline.
Yeah, in the absence of any other psychotic symptoms.
Yeah. It's an individual who is experiencing one or more delusions for which a larger illness is not responsible. And of course, schizophrenia is very high in the differential diagnosis. So it's a fairly straightforward definition, delusional disorder. Delusion itself is a belief that is not bound in reality and is resistant or rigid when the individual is provided the proper or follow-up information. Right? So one or more delusions. Now, when this comes up on exams very frequently, when we diagnose delusional disorder, there are several subtypes. What are the 5 subtypes of delusional disorder, otherwise referred to as the 5 themes of delusion or delusional themes? Grandiose. Good.
Mixed.
That's number 6. It could be mixed.
Persecution?
Persecutory. Good.
Somatic. Oh, sorry.
Somatic. Good.
Erotomania.
Erotomatic.
And jealous.
And jealous. Right. So the acronym is JPEGs. So to spell it out for you, jealous subtype, persecutory, erotomanic, grandiose, and somatic. An individual could definitely have mixed. They could have more than one. That's Annie Wilkes in Stephen King's Misery. She has both grandiose as well as erotomanic. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, pretend you do. Just nod.
She was crazy.
Yeah,
She was delusional. Yeah, she was delusional. And then it could be none of the above, which is often referred to as unspecified. And this comes up on exams. So in terms of the likelihood of you seeing delusional disorder come unspecified, 0. However, multiple forms of unspecified delusional disorder appear because they take usually the last name of the person that first described them. Cotard being an example. We mentioned Fragoli being another example. Now, Fragoli didn't describe the syndrome. He was a performer that was renowned for how quick he was able to get into and out of different costumes off stage. So the Fragoli syndrome or the Fragoli delusion is an unspecified delusion with the specific content of an individual with a false belief that others can shapeshift. Right, so Neo in The Matrix has the Fragoli delusion because he believes that agents can shift in and out of different programs.
And then Smile, right?
Smile.
You talked about
Yeah.
that.
Matter of fact, in Smile 2, there's a character named Fergoli.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
they-
Fergoli.
Is this with a V?
Yeah, I think
Really?
so. Let me see.
Let's check that. I thought it was an F. If not, it's at least an allusion to.
It like doesn't say. It says Lewis.
Lewis, yeah.
Yeah. Looking on the IMDb.
There's one other common unspecified delusional type.
Capgras?
Yeah. Pronounced Capgras, Capgras, and that's
Yeah,
delusional
it is.
belief.
It is Fergoli.
Really, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I heard that wrong.
The Capgras syndrome is the delusional belief that another individual is an imposter or has been substituted by an imposter. So, AKA the imposter syndrome or the body snatcher syndrome.
Oh, is that like Invasion of the Body
Yeah.
Snatchers? Yeah.
Well, it's really every alien film that's
Yeah.
been created in which there's assimilation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was then the thing?
The thing, yeah. Don't get me started down that rabbit hole because I will cancel your entire afternoon to discuss all these films.
Can I get you started on Alien really quickly?
Sure.
Spoilers. Apologies.
Mhm.
For that one scene in the movie where you know what I'm talking about? Oh shit, I don't want to spoil anything.
The 79 or the sequel?
The
Which-
sequel, like the Alien movies, where they crash land and they're on the one planet, and the robot guy, and then
Yeah, okay.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second one, right?
that- I think it
Aliens,
is.
right.
What would that be? If it was something?
For any particular character?
Oh shoot, I don't. Hold on.
Bishop?
Never mind. I'll add
Bishop, like the robot.
the robot. Where
Bishop.
would that scene?
The scene or the character?
The two characters. Would it be like, oh, there's one character, oh, it's a belief of something?
Well, there's several things going on in Aliens. And it's a very, by the way, Aliens is arguably one of the best sequels ever made. If you like action, I mean, don't blink. This is a movie that as soon as it starts up, I mean, it's revved and it's gone. So it's nonstop action. And great acting. Again, one of the best sequels ever made. So if you're looking at the robot, if you wanted to analyze it, if you wanted to put a metaphorical twist on it, if somebody believes that they are dead, dying, or robotic, I'm going to guess the guitar syndrome's in play here. However, and I don't know exactly when in this movie it's discovered, but there is the belief that the alien can actually infest you, that it's going to use the humans as a pod to get back to Earth. And that would be delusional disorder somatic subtype. There are three forms of somatic subtype. One is infestation. One is dysmorphobia or dysmorphia. And the third is halitosis. Those are the three. So it's an odor, it's a misshapen body part, or it's an infestation. Right. So delusional parasitosis, which you hear comes up in the literature, in the DSM per the APA, is delusional disorder, somatic subtype, infestation, subtype. That's a word.
So I know we were talking about types of, like, subsets of delusional disorder. This is kind of like the patient we saw this morning. Can we talk about that?
As long as you don't use any names.
Okay. I know he has delirium, like, not a strict delusional disorder, but would it be classified as a persecutory delusion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, persecutory delusions don't necessarily equate to delusional disorder per se.
It's just a type, like a...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just like going back to the movie. There's like a scene that really bothers me. Like after we find out he died, he was dead the whole time. There's a scene where Cole comes home and mom's like, "Oh, how was your day?" And they just make up stuff. And then she says, I brought up the script because I know I'm not crazy. She says, "Oh, like I'll make triangle pancakes. You got an hour." Who takes an hour to make pancakes for one child? And then Malcolm was in the living room waiting for him. You know, like they did the step game, like take one step if I read your mind. I'm like, they can't get away with that. An hour to make pancakes for one kid, and then it's like that. I thought it was a session. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't like that one.
All right, I have to rechecked that scene.
It must be really good.
So let me ask. When she says that, and let's say Cole leaves the room, do we see Mom move towards the cabinet or the oven? I mean, she may have been doing. Mothers actually multitask.
Yeah, it was like a foyer.
They often do. I'm like, they can. So there might be about 80 things she has to do before soap goes on. To be fair.
Have you made pancakes from scratch? Like, it's just a mix. She gives him Pop-Tart. Come on.
We'll have to rewatch that scene.
Sorry, to be fair, Dr. Tobia?
Hmm?
You were going to say something and I didn't catch it.
Oh, I was going to say, to be fair, I don't know what she has planned or what she needs to do prior to turning on that oven or even beginning to mix. She may have about like 100 things that a mom would have to address before they cook dinner. So maybe her saying an hour wasn't necessarily saying that it's going to take an hour, but we will have dinner in an hour. I'd have to rewatch the scene though.
Wait. It says Lynn takes Cole's school bag and jacket before moving to the kitchen. Come on.
And,
Come on. I don't know. I didn't like that.
okay. Other thoughts?
I found it interesting when I started rewatching that when I obviously realized he was a ghost. He doesn't talk to anyone but Cole, because I was literally thinking about that scene, like when I realized, I was like, no, like he talked to the mom, like he literally was like, I'm gonna have a therapy session. I was like, maybe she's dead too. But then I really rewatched it and I was like, oh my gosh, like no, he only talks to Cole.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like really interesting, because I feel like if I didn't know that ending, I would never assumed he was dead. And like there's a scene where the wife is like holding like I think his wedding ring or a wedding ring and it wasn't hers, and she's crying. And like I also thought it was so weird that he came home and like he couldn't open doorknobs, and like it was like interesting stuff like that. So.
We were talking about Anna.
Oh yeah.
So what's going on with Anna?
I think she's depressed, obviously.
Yeah. Do we know how much time? I know that the months do come up. Anybody pay attention? How much time goes by?
Oh, like 6, I think.
6 months?
But didn't you say like happy anniversary?
It was a year.
I thought it was a year.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, but I don't think it was the anniversary of his death. I think it was the anniversary of when they married.
It's just months later. Just months later.
Months later, yeah. I mean, I think it's reasonable to assume that she's beyond the bereavement stage and has evolved to probably persisting complex bereavement disorder. And to the extent that we do see that she's prescribed antidepressants, assuming that the prescriber is following the standard of care, has major depressive disorder. All right. There are multiple films that actually take us through. Well, I mean, think about anyone in film that is depressed. That the etiology of which is due to the death of a loved one will connect, and very often persistent complex bereavement disorder is missed. They're not going to really depict that in film. They're probably going to jump one to the next, step 1 to step 3. But that said, we should probably talk about persistent complex bereavement disorder because it is new to the DSM-5. This is a condition in which the bereavement is either persisting and or complex, meaning persisting quantitatively beyond what you would expect. So the bereavement and the grieving extends several months. Or if not complex, that qualifiably there are things going on that should concern the practitioner. So suicidal thoughts, persistent thoughts of death, irrespective of when, even if it's just 2 weeks later. Right? So persistent complex bereavement disorder. Unlike bereavement, and again, bereavement and grief are often used interchangeably. Grief is the emotion and the feeling. Bereavement is the syndrome. Neither of which increased risk for depression. Persistent complex bereavement disorder is seen in up to 20% of individuals with bereavement, and if experienced, is an independent risk factor for depression. Do we get a glimpse of what medication she's on?
Zoloft.
She's on Zoloft. All right, so I think we're going to turn off the stream in a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about pharmacotherapy here. But before we do, I want to continue our discussion on the psychopathology of the Sixth Sense. Any other observations here?
Is it safe to assume he was basically, well, I don't want to say stalking, but haunting him the whole time, because he would like show up after the fight in school and everything, after like his incidents in school. So he was like in a corner just watching him the whole time.
Yeah, he, as a psychologist, there's some unethical behavior that Dr. Crow, yeah.
That was one thing that confused me also, because like when he visits her like at the restaurant before you think that he's dead, his like wife, he tells her about his patient and everything. I'm like, I don't think you can really like say all that.
You
Yeah.
stopped him to school.
He would just pop up randomly. I don't know how I didn't see he was a ghost.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't see it. I just like spawn right in. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that adds to it, because delusion is when you don't understand that it's not realistic or a break from reality. So it's like, yeah, no, it's totally normal that this person just appears randomly. Of course.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they're both on the ethical side. Even one of his recordings talking about childhood schizophrenia, even his clinical judgment isn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Again, we need more of our child adolescent faculty here to discuss that, but yeah.
So maybe you can't answer it, but I guess like what would you diagnose like Cole with? My first thought would be depression, or in the depression and anxiety spectrum. But that said, to be fair, I'm an adult psychiatrist.
What about like dissociative traits or PTSD?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, anxiety, yeah. All right, we'll leave it here. And I think I did relate to the X Twitter group next week's both Seinfeld episode and Night's Watch. So that should be posted, if not already, very, very soon. Thank you.